Welcome, this is Carl Danneberger. The topic of this presentation is on some of the less commonly used bentgrasses found on golf courses. To start, there are over 100 species of bentgrass. The ones that we will discuss here are Redtop, Colonial, and Velvet Bentgrass. These three bentgrasses, along with some creeping bentgrass, comprised an early seed mix that was used on golf course greens called Southern German Bent. This mix was quite popular through the early 20th century. Numerous golf course greens through Northern Europe and the United States were seeded with South German Bent. South German Bent is no longer used, but each species is. Redtop is one of the most widely adapted bentgrasses, but is susceptible to winter injury. Its life cycle is considered an annual to perennial. Redtop was often added to a seed mix as a nurse crop because of its believed rapid establishment and due to a lack of tolerance to cold and low heights of cut would gradually disappear, being replaced by the more desirable turf grasses in the mix. Later, Redtop was found not to establish any quicker than some of the other grasses and was replaced by other species and seed mixes like perennial ryegrass. Redtop does well in wet soils and may be found along drainage ditches or roadsides. It normally has a purplish color to it. Redtop is either used in low-maintenance situations like the one shown here, or considered oftentimes as a weed. Colonial Bentgrass and Dryland Bentgrass I have also grouped together because Dryland Bentgrass is quite similar to Colonial Bentgrass. However, I will limit my discussion to Colonial Bentgrass. Colonial Bentgrass, behind creeping bentgrass, is the second most used bentgrass on golf courses. Colonial Bentgrass is also known by the common names of brown top and in a few instances common bent. Before discussing adaptation and use of Colonial Bentgrass, I wanted to mention there are several cultivars available for each of these bentgrasses. A number of Colonial Bentgrass cultivars have been recently released. Colonial Bentgrass is adapted to the cool, humid regions of the world, normally where it is used on golf courses where we associate links-type conditions. Colonial Bentgrass does not hold up well under heat or drought conditions. It is also extremely susceptible to summertime diseases like brown patch. Colonial Bentgrass has an upright growth habit that is normally considered non-aggressive. Although given a rhizomatous growth habit, it will tend to get thatchy. In the past, Colonial Bentgrass was sometimes mixed with aggressive type of creeping bentgrasses like Pencross on fairways in an attempt to reduce the aggressiveness of the mix. Usually the Colonial Bentgrass did not persist due to its adaptive limitations. Colonial Bentgrass is maintained at a height of cut between 1/4 of an inch to slightly below an inch. The fertility requirements are normally considered low, but Colonial Bentgrass respond to increasing nitrogen rates. Colonial Bentgrass is established alone or in combination with fine fescue on golf courses in cool oceanic climates. In this photograph, this green is Colonial Bentgrass. Notice the slopes and the severe undulations on the green. If this green were maintained with creeping bentgrass at a low height of cut, green speeds would quickly get out of control. I think this picture shows the relationship between a given design and the proper turf grass selected and maintained to give the desired putting surface. In this case, Colonial Bentgrass has been seeded in a mix with predominantly fine fescue. This type of seed mix is becoming more popular on links-type golf courses built in New England and the Pacific Northwest. In the case of fine fescue, Colonial Bentgrass management practices should be more aligned with the fine fescue in the mix regarding fertility. The last bentgrass discussed is Velvet Bentgrass. Velvet Bentgrass forms a turf that has the highest density and finest leaf texture as any of the bentgrasses. I think Velvet Bentgrass greens are as close to a billiard tabletop look as you can get. Velvet is primarily used in New England area. It has relatively poor environmental stress tolerance, along with poor wear tolerance, which may be a result in some degree to its slow vertical growth rate. It also needs to be grown on well-drained acidic soils. Under the right conditions, velvet bentgrass is a relatively low-maintenance turf. In this photograph, the velvet bentgrasses, specifically the experimental velvet bentgrass cultivar 7PC2, is doing quite well under low-maintenance regime compared to the creeping bentgrass that's outlined along the left side. This concludes this presentation on bentgrass species.